When you think of buying PC games, you think of Steam, but right now the most powerful platform in PC gaming is under siege. We have a major industry report showing that a massive 80% of developers are about to fundamentally change how they sell games. This report, based on a survey of 306 industry executives and senior managers across the US and UK, reveal the deep fear driving this change. And that change is happening while Valve faces an ongoing multi-million-dollar antitrust lawsuit in the United States and a collective action in the UK, all accusing them of running an illegal monopoly. But let's look at the numbers. Steam is king, generating over $10 billion in revenue in 2022 alone, and having over 40 million concurrent users. But for some developers, they feel that dominance is oppressive. The developers surveyed agreed 72% of them see Steam as an effective monopoly, and the dependence is obvious. 88% of developers report that Steam accounts for over 3/4 of their total revenue. When you have all your eggs in one basket, you're vulnerable to Gaben's hands. Think about what that reliance means. A single change in Valve's terms, a slight adjustment to the revenue split, or a policy update could change things for any developer. This fear is a daily conversation in executive meetings. 53% of developers express concerns about their level of reliance on Valve's platform. They worry about sudden policy changes, fee hikes, or simply being unable to reach specific global audiences. They know they must use Steam for its reach. So with well over 100,000 games now on Steam, as a small studio you almost get instantly buried if you don't get picked up by the algorithm. 33% of developers cite discoverability as a key challenge. However, the report shows that the number one concern for studios is the rise of free-to-play games, cited by 40% of all developers, followed closely by general market saturation at 35%. This means developers aren't just battling each other's $60 titles, they're trying to attract players away from games like Dota 2, Counter-Strike, Marvel Rivals, and other free live service games, which they classify as a black hole due to their time sinks. The developers' answer isn't just to walk away from Steam entirely, but to actively embrace alternative distribution. This strategy is about expanding their total audience, and they are confident that it will pay off, with 75% of developers anticipating at least a 10% revenue uplift from exploring these new platforms. They are focusing on two main types of alternative stores: e-stores used by 38% of developers and marketplaces used by 30%. They are not ignoring rivals either. 48% have already distributed to the Epic Game Store. This shows a decisive industry shift away from putting everything just on Steam. They want to diversify to other places, but a whopping 73% of developers are also concerned about unauthorized reselling. The developers' current fear that 72% see Steam as a monopoly really isn't anything new. It's just what happens when you have so many years of dominance. But Steam has always been aware of its position. Just a few weeks before the Epic Game Store launched, Valve took a major action to secure its market leadership. In late 2018, Valve announced a new tiered revenue split. While the 70-30 cut remained for most games, publishers who earned over 10 million would suddenly get an increased 75% cut. If they hit 50 million, the cut jumped to 80%. This policy sent a clear message. Valve was willing to financially reward the biggest publishers to ensure their blockbusters stayed on Steam. Not only this, back in 2020, when the Epic Game Store battle was exploding, Gabe Newell made his position clear. He stated that competition in game stores is awesome for everybody. It keeps us honest. It keeps everybody else honest. But it's ugly in the short term. You're like, arg, they're yelling. They're making us look bad. But in the long term, everybody benefits from the discipline and the thoughtfulness it means you have to have about your business by having people come in and challenge you. We get a lot more freaked out, not by competition, but by people trying to preclude competition. If you ask us which is scarier, it's people falling in love with Apple's model of controlling everything and having faceless bureaucrats who get to keep your product from entering the market if they don't want it to, or dressing a store in a way that minimizes software value add to experience and stuff like that. So Valve is not denying their market position. They just simply know they earned it through a superior product, and it welcomes any rival willing to compete on features and service, not just exclusivity deals. But that welcoming attitude has now boiled over into serious legal action that asks us a fundamental question: is Valve operating an illegal monopoly? In the US, the publisher class action lawsuit has been certified, encompassing developers who have paid commissions to Valve since 2017. And for the consumer side, the legal drama continues, with major law firms gathering claims. At the moment, the publisher class is moving toward a major court battle, with a full trial expected to happen in just the next few months, meaning this entire topic, Steam's power, its 30% cut, and its price parity rules will be fought out in a federal courtroom. The lawsuits allege that Valve uses its market dominance not just to be the best, but to illegally suppress competition through two key policies: the high 30% commission, which plaintiffs argue inflate prices; the alleged platform most favored nations clause, which prevents developers from offering their games for a lower price on rival stores like the Epic Games or GOG. So you can't just sell a game for $20 on Steam, but then list it for $10 on the Epic Game Store. These 2 points are key arguments in the lawsuit, but here's where that argument gets a bit complicated and where Steam's defense comes in. Valve's entire defense, and the reason why many gamers and even some developers are loyal to the platform, is that they didn't illegally force their dominance. They earned it by building a superior product that competitors simply cannot beat. And this is why, for the average gamer, Steam's dominance is actually a good thing. The best argument for Valve is that the market is open and their competitors simply failed due to poor execution and lack of vision. Take EA or Ubisoft. These major publishers tried to pull their games off of Steam to launch their own launchers, only to be met with intense player backlash. Gamers hated juggling through multiple logins and libraries, forcing the publishers to eventually return to Steam. We even have former Amazon executives who admitted that their multi-billion-dollar attempts to compete, including the Luna Cloud service, failed because they fundamentally underestimated the value of Steam's ecosystem. They focused on technology when the customer was already locked into Steam's social network. And this is because at the end of the day, Steam is not just a store, it's an entire ecosystem. Your Steam's profile holds your entire gaming history, your friends list, your achievements, seamless cloud saves, a best-in-class refund policy, the Steam Workshop for modding, and one of the most underrated features, user reviews. The more players use Steam, the more valuable it is for developers. The more developers sell games on Steam, the more valuable it is for players. And this is what truly crushed the competition. Since competitors like Epic can't compete on the ecosystem, they are forced to compete on price cuts and free games. If Steam disappeared tomorrow, who would be forced to innovate and offer such consumer-friendly features? And one of the main factors to this is the fact that Steam is a private company, meaning it doesn't face the quarterly pressure of public shareholders who would immediately demand that the platform be milked for profit. So the courtroom drama will be escalating in the next coming months, but the real solution to the Steam monopoly isn't going to be decided by a judge. It's going to be decided by you, the player. The developer report tells us that 80% of the industry is actively diversifying, but will players really use other platforms to play their games?